My name is Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. I'm going to break down the entire UFC San Diego fight card, and we're going to talk about DraftKings. I'm going to give you my picks, my predictions, who should be in your lineup, and who you should probably avoid putting in your lineup. But before I jump in, become a premium member at WeWantPicks.com. If you are a DraftKings player, it has all the tools you will ever need to do well. One of our premium members just crushed a $50-something thousand tournament a few weeks ago. We've had others cash several $1,000s using those tools, using that insight. Go to WeWantPicks.com, scroll to the top, click Become a Member, and you will get DraftKings ownership projections every single week. We rank all of the fighters by salary group. We give you our biggest fade, our best dog, the best value play, and who should absolutely be in your lineup. All the tools you will ever need to build successful lineups, and all sorts of other content like exclusive bets and other fantasy options. WeWantPicks.com, click Become a Member. It is $10 a month. That's nothing. This will pay for itself with one mediocre week. That's only $2.50 per week. WeWantPicks.com, at the top, click Become a Member. So let's go ahead and break down this entire fight card. We do have 13 fights. 3 of them are rebooked from previous events, so we'll talk about those as well. We're just going to start at the bottom and work our way to the top. And opening up the card, we've got Youssef Zalal. He's taking on UFC newcomer Damon Blackshear. Youssef Zalal, he's well-rounded. He's got decent takedowns. He likes to fight at range, and he's fighting Damon Blackshear, who is taking this fight on short notice. It is his UFC debut, but he's got a lot of experience. He can grapple. He's got solid striking. And this is a really tricky fight because Youssef Zalal, he's a very good fighter. He's on a 3-fight losing streak, but he is a very good fighter, but he just likes to play that outside. But he does work in those takedowns. I mean, these are losses, and he's still scoring, decent 41 points, 42 points. That's not terrible in a loss, and that's because they're well-fought losses. This one was embarrassing, though, because he was supposed to smoke Choi and did not. But in these wins, he scores ridiculously well. 95 points in a decision win because of the incredible amount of control time and the takedowns. The question is, can he do that in this fight? I'm going to pull up Damon Blackshear, but you're not going to get anything. It's his UFC debut. Damon Blackshear is taking this on short notice. It's his UFC debut, but he's got a ton of experience. He's got a lot of fights. He was on the UFC's radar. He's an athletic striker. He's got real speed, real power, and he can grapple as well. I actually like Blackshear to get it done in this underdog role. I like him to, show up, big splash, similar to what Chris Curtis did. The pricing's real tricky, though, because $8,000, it's a lot to spend, but historically, this price point, as you guys have pointed out, the middle of the road, $8,000, $8,200, that price point tends to be in the winning lineups in optimal. So, Blackshear's my pick. If you feel very confident in either one of these guys, it is a solid price. Grab them. I'm going to go ahead. I'm probably going to fade this fight for DraftKings. Then we got Jason Witt versus Josh Quinlan. This is the first of 3 fights that have been rebooked. This fight was last week. Jason Witt, dominant wrestler, terrible chin. Josh Quinlan, phenomenal hands, but he continues to have issues with USADA. His Dana White Contender Series fight was a beautiful knockout, overturned because of USADA issues. Supposed to fight last week, this exact fight, and he pissed hot. It wasn't enough to get suspended, but that fight was just not happening in Vegas. So they've moved it. It's happening in San Diego. And has anything changed? I don't know, man. Jason Quinlan, $9,100. That's a lot. Granted, he's got impressive hands. And if we look at Jason Witt, this fight against Philip Rowe, 4 takedowns. Dominating. 5 minutes control time. And then his lights were put out. And that's the problem here. Josh Quinlan could do the exact same thing. Get taken down. Get ridden out. Bang. 1 punch. 2nd round, 3rd round. Fight's over. Done. His cardio lasts. His power lasts. That's what makes this another tricky fight. I will say, I was very high on Quinlan last week. I thought you probably need to have him in your lineup. This guy knocks people out. Jason Witt gets knocked out. Lost, knockout, lost, knockout, lost, knockout. That's just, that's the story of Jason Witt. 8 takedowns, 2 takedowns, 4. He's taking you down, and then hopefully he rides it out for a decision, or he may get caught and knocked out. And Josh Quinlan is that guy, has that power to get it done. Logic says Josh Quinlan knocks out Jason Witt. That's why he's $9,100. With that being said, Jason Witt can have success. Josh Quinlan coming off of a couple of USADA issues. He may be frustrated, run down, annoyed, worried. Probably Jason Witt gets knocked out, but you need some underdogs in here. He scores well even when he loses. It's not the worst thing in the world to have Jason Witt in your lineup, but Josh Quinlan's probably the safe pick. $9,100 is more than I want to spend. A little off topic from DraftKings. BetOnline offers a most takedowns prop. So, Jason Witt, Josh Quinlan, all you need to do is say, who do I think is going to get more takedowns between these two guys? And you get paid. I gave you guys that line last week. I got it at minus 325. It is much more expensive now, but it's a guarantee. Because if Jason Witt gets no takedowns, you get your money back. If he gets one, you'll get paid because Josh Quinlan's not going to get any takedowns. It's beautiful. It's free money. WeOwnPicks.com/bets. Jump in the bet online. Find that bet. Place that bet. They're the only book that even offers it. If you do it through our link, I'll send you $50. So it's not DraftKings, but I'm talking about Jason Witt and takedowns. You got to go that way. We got Uday Osborne taking on Tyson Nam. Tyson Nam is returning after a year and a half away. Uday Osborne has actually looked really solid. He's all the way down at 125, which is really impressive considering where he came from. And he's had some success. Adeshev win was great. The Vergara, that was a solid win. And this Manel Kopp, listen, it's a loss. It was a knockout loss. I think it was a flying knee. But he won that first round, or was winning that first round, and then last second catches that knee. But he looked good in this fight as well. So, he's one well-timed knee away from being 4 in a row. But Uday Osborne gets this done. $8,800 is a fantastic price point. I think you absolutely need to have him in your lineup. Tyson Nam does have insane power. They're calling him the Hawaiian Punch. But the reality is a year and a half away, 2 years removed from this win. I just think the sport's starting to pass him by. You can't only rely on that big power to get it done. I like Uday Osborne. He's been looking fantastic. He's the better all-around fighter. Obviously, he's got to worry about Tyson's big one-punch power. I don't think that'll be a problem. Tyson's not the only heavy-handed striker that he's ever fought. So I think Uday absolutely gets this done. I love him at $8,800. I'm just thankful he's not in the high nines. We got Gabriel Benitez taking on Charlie Ontiveros. And this is a weird fight because Gabriel Benitez is $9,300. And he's coming off 4 losses in his last 5 fights. 4. And his only win is over Justin James. So he is priced incredibly high. And the reality is he probably does win this fight. And history will tell us if he wins this fight, it will be by stoppage. Because A, he is a stoppage machine. And B, Charlie Ontiveros, all he does is get stopped in his losses. He certainly can win by stoppage. He is better than, all of his stoppage losses, 11-8. And I think every single one of those is a stoppage. But, Gabriel Benitez, very good kickboxer. Great kicks, solid head movement. He's got fantastic jiu-jitsu. He just doesn't really use it. Charlie Ontiveros, back-to-back losses in the UFC, both by finish. Every single one of his losses is by finish. But he's a striker. He's got that wide karate-style stance. But this dude is wild. He will spin. He will jump. He does absolutely wild things looking for a finish. And that wildness could get him the finish here. So I do think Gabriel wins. I think Gabriel wins by stoppage. I wish he was cheaper than $9,300, but the reality is he probably gets that done. Jacob, the other guy on this channel, actually likes Charlie Ontiveros in this fight. So he's going to get a great price at $6,900. Sorry, I don't have the clearest pick in the world with this fight, but we got 13 fights here. You don't need somebody in every single fight. I would rather spend $8,800 on Uday Osborne than the $9,300 on Gabriel Benitez. Then we got Cynthia Calvillo, second rebooked fight on this card. She's taking on Nina Nunes. Cynthia Calvillo at one point in time was very, very good. And then she got broken. Jessica Andrade broke her. broke her. She quit on the stool in her next fight out against Andrea Lee. And I think Cynthia Calvillo, I think the sport's done with her. And that sounds awful, and I feel bad because at one point she was incredibly talented, huge prospect, but I think she's just been into too many wars. You know, this devastating loss streak. The Chikagian loss, that is what it is, right? That happens. That's what Chikagian does. The Andrade loss, it broke her. It broke her. She just, in the Lee fight, poorly timed takedown attempts, literally quit on the stool. I think Cynthia Calvillo, I think the sport has passed her by, or at least, you know, she might need to take a full year off to really regroup. And she's fighting Nina NUNES. Nina NUNES, listen, she's also on a 2-fight skid. But let's look at her fight. She beat Claudia Gadelha, great win. Ronda Marcos, Angela Hill. And, you know, obviously these are going back a little ways now, and there was a gap in there because she did have a kid with Amanda NUNES, her wife. But the reality is these losses were grappling heavy losses. Mackenzie Dern, okay. Tatiana Suarez, okay. These are ridiculous losses to specialists. And that's who Nina loses to. Nina loses to phenomenal kickboxers, phenomenal grapplers. Because Nina's just very well-rounded. She's good everywhere. Not amazing anywhere, but good everywhere. And she beats other fighters who are good everywhere because she's just that much better. I think she gets this done. $7,900, I would have liked a bigger discount. I think she gets this done. And it probably looks something like the Gadelha fight. Although I think she actually will probably get some of her own takedowns. But, you know, she scores well. She scores well. She's not, you know, destroying people. If we look at these decisions, 74, 52, 88. That's why I'm saying I wish I would have gotten a little bit of a better price than $7,900. But I think Nina NUNES is a solid underdog. She stayed at American Top Team while Amanda started her own thing. And I would argue that that means Nina NUNES got the best of both worlds. She got the big camp, lots of training partners at American Top Team, and then she gets to come home, work with her wife and that specialty team that she started, and Amanda NUNES looked phenomenal. So I think Nina NUNES gets it done. I would have liked a better price point than $7,900, but I think she's a solid play, and I think she gets it done. Then we got Martin Buday taking on UFC newcomer Lucas Brzeski. Martin Buday, he's coming off this win over Barnett. This was listed as a decision, but what happened is he beat the piss out of Chris Barnett. There was an illegal strike in the mix there. Chris Barnett took tried to take the Aljamain Sterling. Oh, I can't continue. That was illegal. But the ref said, that was an accident. That wasn't on purpose. It's the third round. We're going to the judges. And the judges were like, yeah, Martin won that fight. Easy. So Martin Buday is a very good fighter. He broke Chris in that fight. He's a heavy-handed striker. He's got solid footwork, very real power. And he can wrestle as well if he needs to. His issue is he can be a little slow to engage, but when he does engage, everything's got power. He's taking on UFC newcomer, no data here, obviously, UFC debut, Lucas Brzeski. Lucas has that impressive Contender Series win, but it's listed as a no contest because he had his own PED issues, similar to Josh we broke down earlier. He's very athletic. He works wild spinning attacks, beautiful leg kicks, works his own takedowns. The problem with him is he doesn't like getting hit. Nobody does. But he will literally turn his head and cower instead of circling out and you know, staying. Keep my eyes on my opponent, let me circle out and then fire back. He'll turn his head. Martin Buday, with his power, that's not the type of guy you want to do that with. I think Buday gets it done. I think he probably gets a stoppage here. $8,900. Again, we're deciding between Benitez at 90 whatever the hell versus Buday at 89. I'm going to go Buday. We got Lupita Godinez versus Angela Hill. $9,200. She's probably worth it. And I think it looks a lot like this. 8 takedowns, 13 minutes of control time, 130 strikes for 129 points. I think that's this fight. I think she comes in, bullies the hell out of Angela Hill, takes her down, beats her up, no issues whatsoever. The only question mark will be cardio, because this is short notice for both of them. They agreed to fight each other. They were supposed to fight in October, and that got pulled all the way back in to this weekend, which I don't understand why. I don't know what happened behind the scenes that they said, let's bring this in 2 months. But Angela Hill has always been very well-rounded. She's got nice hands, good speed, no power whatsoever, but she's always very technical, very well-rounded, impossible to put away. She's a decision queen. But this loss, this Jandiroba loss, she got taken down a bunch of times, controlled. That was a bad loss. That's when we're like, okay, I guess Angela Hill's done here. So, I mean, that's about it, right? I don't think she's worth $7,000. I think Lupita Godinez is probably worth $9,200. I think she absolutely gets it done. I'm glad this fight was added. Bruno Silva, Jared Mearshart. Bruno Silva, $9,000, done. Book it, done. Guy hits like a freight train, has solid jiu-jitsu, solid takedowns, and he's fighting Gerald Mearshart. Gerald Mearshart is submission or bust. It's just that simple. Look at this, submission or bust. His chin is questionable at best. Granted, he did survive a bunch of heavy strikes against Stolzfus. He survived Jotko, but Jotko's not a power guy. He's a volume guy. He's not going to survive Bruno Silva's strikes. I mean, it's just that simple. Bruno Silva will... It's a fight. Nothing's a guarantee. Nothing. This is as close to a guarantee as you're going to get one on this card. Bruno Silva wins by knockout. $9,000 is worth the money. Ariana Lipski, Priscilla Kuchera. This is the third fight on this card that has been rebooked. This was supposed to happen last week. Ariana Lipski missed weight. Then fight night. Couple issues. Canceled the fight. Medical issues. Obviously, it was weight related and related to that weight cut. We'll see what she looks like on the scale. I am recording this before weigh-ins, but we'll see what she looks like on the scale. But she's a fade. She's a fade on this card. I liked her last week to win. I assumed she'd show up in shape, ready to go. She has the much better striking, and she'll dance around and let her hands go. The reality is she missed weight. The fight was canceled. She couldn't even fight on the night of the fight. 24 hours after weigh-ins, she's like, I can't fight. I can't fight tonight. They rebooked it 1 week later. It is at a catch weight, so she's not going to have to cut all that weight, but she's going to have to cut some weight. I think she's going to have issues. I like Kuchera now. I full-on flip my pick. Kuchera was always tough, a bully, could get it done. And we got Ariana Lipski, who's not at 100%, coming off issues from last week. I think Priscilla Kuchera absolutely gets it done. And we're looking at $7,500. Great underdog for your DraftKings lineup. This was not a win, though. This was not a win. She lost to Ji Yoon Kim. That should not have been a win. But they gave it to her anyway. But I think she bullies, gets on top. She doesn't have the best takedowns, but Ariana Lipski, who's not going to have 100% cardio, I don't think it's going to be a problem. So full-on switch there. I like Priscilla Kuchera. Then we got Mirzakhanov versus Devin Clark. I broke this fight down with Jacob. I'm very high on Mirzakhanov. We tweet all of our videos. We tag the fighters in the videos, right? We're not going to shy away from our insight, and we're not going to talk about fighters and then hide in the corner. Devin Clark was not happy with my breakdown at all on Twitter. He said I was uneducated. Jacob was educated because Jacob thinks Devin wins. The reality is Devin Clark is a very good fighter. He's a well-rounded guy, solid grappler, but his chin doesn't always hold up. And yes, he just beat, let me show Devin Clark while I'm talking about Devin Clark. Yeah, he just beat William Knight, and he looked pretty good doing it. But early in that fight, he was almost put out. And he showed how incredibly tough he is. He bootstrapped it, got it together, and then won that fight. But William Knight just died. William Knight died, quit. Devin Clark took advantage. That's not Mirzakhanov. Mirzakhanov is almost the opposite. The guy is just doesn't have any quit in him. He'll slow down, he'll fade, but he doesn't have quit in him, and he's got live power the entire fight. This Chukwi fight is a perfect example of that. He was losing that fight. He was not going to win this fight. Then Tafon came out aggressive in the third round, looking for a finish, which he shouldn't have done, and Mirzakhanov was live, left hook, knee, left hook, good power, got the fight done. And what that showed me is that he isn't going to quit. He doesn't care if he's down. He doesn't care what it looks like. He's going to come forward. He's going to try to get that done, and he did get it done. He's got insane power. Devin Clark's got good pressure. Devin Clark's got the better cardio. He does not have the better chin. Mirzakhanov has his own very good wrestling that he doesn't always lose. I like Mirzakhanov to get this done. This is a solid price point for both fighters. If you are in the Devin Clark camp, you're going to get a great deal at $7,800. I'm in the Mirzakhanov camp. $8,400 seems like a very, very good deal to me. A couple of UFC newcomers. There's going to be no stats here. We got Yasmin Jurkegui taking on another Eisman, not Yasmin. She's taking on Eisman Lucindo. There's no stats here, so this is the backdrop while we talk. Listen, I think Jurkegui gets it done. She's a I mean, go watch tape on her. She's a killer. Phenomenal hands, very good takedown defense. She is a very, very good fighter. Eisman Lucindo is a grappler. She's going to come forward, look to grab you, drag you to the ground, hopefully control you, work submissions, work on top from there. So this comes down to, do you think Yasmin can defend the takedowns? If so, clear win. She dominates, maybe a stoppage. If you don't think she defends the takedowns or is stuck defending them and can't let her hands go, then Eisman wins this fight. Personally, I think Yasmin gets it done. She's got phenomenal takedown defense where we see her work on her hooks, shuck her opponents off, and then she'll throw strikes from there or jump on top. We got two UFC newcomers. They're both very young, early in their career. I'm not touching it in DraftKings. I'm just not. We're just going to leave it alone. Either one of them, Eisman could score, Lucindo could score 1,000,000 points with takedowns and control, or Jargui could score points with a stoppage. I'm not going to touch it. There's just too many unknowns here, but Jargui looks unbelievable in tape and could be a real deal, sometime soon. Then we got David Onama taking on Nate the Train. David Onama's a very, very dangerous guy. A lot of you guys are super high on him. And $8,600, we'll find out. Premium members get DraftKings ownership numbers, so we'll find out. I imagine David Onama is going to be very highly owned. He's at $8,600 instead of 9,000 something. And the dude has insane power in his hands. He is a kickboxer who plots forward and lets those hands fly. He's not typically super high volume, but he is effective. Long jab that he's constantly pumping, big power right behind it. He's coming off this submission win, and this was just last month. So a pretty quick turnaround for David Onama. And he's fighting Nate the Train Landwehr. Nate is feast or famine. All stoppages here for the most part. This Darren Elkins win was very impressive. Darren Elkins is a very good fighter, a grinder, and Nate was able to outgrind. Defended the takedowns, stayed busy with the striking, stayed in his face, and looked pretty good doing it. And that's what worries me here. I could see him doing this to Onama, coming forward, staying in his face, because if you stay in David Onama's face, you can get him out of a rhythm. But Nate Landwehr can be knocked out. Julian Erosa did it. Freaking Herbert Burns did it. And that guy's a bum. No offense, Herbert, but after that last performance, what do you expect? Point being, David Onama's live for the knockout. Nate Landwehr is live for stay in his face, grind, don't let him get into a rhythm, and just get it done. I don't know what to do with this fight. I do think Onama wins, but I think Nate Landwehr is the most live underdog, and he might end up being in an optimal lineup because he's in the 7,000 price range, and he could just get takedowns and grind. Either grind to a stoppage or just, look at this win. This Ludovic Klein win, especially after Ludovic's last fight, that's a good-looking win. But this Herbert Burns loss is trash. Julian Erosa is a very good fighter, but he was stopped. He only put up 4 fantasy points there. So, listen, a lot of you, I'm not going to change anybody's mind here. A lot of you love David Onama and are positive he's going to win. And a lot of you love Nate the Train. I think he's Jacob's underdog lock of the week. So I don't know what I'm going to do here. There's a lot of other fighters that I really love. Bruno Silva, for example, is only a couple bucks more, who I'm positive will get a knockout. So I'm probably not going to have Onama in my lineup. Depending what the underdog situation looks like, I might actually throw Nate in there when we look at the budget. Main event, Chito Vera, Dominick Cruz. Great price point on both guys. I think Dominick Cruz wins this fight. I think Dominick Cruz, who is the least hit fighter in the history of this division, dances around and doesn't get hit. Chito Vera, if we look at these Rob Font stats, right now we're only seeing Chito's side. He landed 167 strikes. That's incredible. Wow. Rob Font landed 270-something strikes. Rob Font touched up Chito Vera whenever he wanted to. Touched him up. The problem for Rob Font was that Chito Vera's got insane power, and every strike from Chito did damage. He dropped him 3 times, busted his face up, and Chito just cruised to a win, but he relied on that power. He was not the better striker. He was not faster. He was not more technical. He had way more power. And even though he landed 100 fewer strikes, every strike of Chito's did twice the damage, 3 times the damage of Rob Font. And that only matters if you can hit your opponent. And can he hit Dominick Cruz? Personally, I don't think so. I don't think he can. Dominick Cruz is older. He's not as active. Pedro Munoz, he did not look great in that fight. That was not a great look. It just wasn't. But Dominick Cruz is still Dominick Cruz, still one of the best to ever do it. Probably the best to ever do it at this weight class. And I think he can dance. I think he can fight IQ his way to a win. And, we're talking about a 5-round win. So obviously this was I think it was a knee KO, TKO. He argued it was early, but then he bounced back with the win over Kenny, the win over Munoz, that Cody Garbrandt fight. He got out. Dominick Cruz was out Dominick Cruzed. Cody Garbrandt was on his wheels, bouncing around and got it done. But before that, this Dillashaw win was fantastic. I mean, Dominick Cruz is one of the best to ever do it. I like Dominick Cruz, $7,700, great price. I'll have him in my lineup. It's 5 rounds. You need to have either one of these guys in your lineup. It's a 5-round fight, should be busy. Cheeto could potentially get a stoppage. Dominick could just touch and go, and it could look like this, 100-something points against, Dillashaw, 100-something points against Faber. This Johnson win, 144. The guy scores. He's not the highest scoring person in the world because he's not really finishing people, but it's a 5-round main event, $7,700. I will have Dominick Cruz in my lineup, but if you're on the Cheeto side, I'm not going to argue with you. He should be in your lineup at a discounted $8,000-something bucks instead of the $9,000 that I expected him to be at. Become a premium member. You get DraftKings ownership. And if you do tournament play, ownership projections are incredibly important. It's only $10 a month. Nobody else is offering the value that we're offering. We're breaking down every single fighter by their price category and ranking them. We're giving you our dog, our fade, our value. We're giving you DraftKings ownership, and we've got a big surprise on the way in the next couple of months to help you build winning lineups. Go to WeWantPicks.com, click Become a Member at the top. We'll see you guys on Saturday. Good luck.